This is very impressive. Back in high school during track practice, I did a 9:3600 meter, so please do not say Bolt is the fastest man alive, because you have not seen every single 7.7 billion people run 100 meters, but nonetheless, Bolt was very fast. So you think you can run faster than Usain Bolt? Well, if that isn't some BS. Hello Redditors of the internet, Nobles Xenon here, and welcome to r/ThatHappened, part 14. Let's get started. So, this next one totally happened. Can chiropractic save lives? What can the power of one adjustment do? This person started experiencing a heart attack during the flight back we were on today. After 2 oxygen tanks down, there was nothing else left to do as 5 MDs, 2 EMTs, 1 nurse gathered around wishing the symptoms will get better. The pilot was contemplating an emergency landing. After explaining to his wife how removing the interference in his nervous system can save his life, she gave me the consent to adjust her husband. Shortly afterwards, his breathing and heart rate returned back to normal. To all my fellow chiropractors out there, we honor the creator's design. We know the potential in the body is limitless. Remember, you didn't choose chiropractic. Chiropractic chose you. You were called for a time like this. Here we go, a chiropractor doing what MDs, EMTs, and nurses couldn't. Oh man, this next one knows damn well nothing was booked. Very appropriate username there, tired of your BS. I ask this woman I've been talking to for a minute for $100. I get it, what do you need it for? When do I get it back? A whole bunch of questions, lol. I planned a trip for us in the mountains in Colorado for 4 days. Hotel cost per night, $200. Whitewater rafting, $150 per person. Zip lining, $125 per person. Hot air balloon, $250 a person. SUV rental, $80 a day. Not to mention the food cost. I had all this covered. Just canceled everything and got my deposits back. I didn't need the $100. I was just seeing what type of response I'd get if I asked for it. I didn't ask when do I get my money back when I was planning the vacation. I was just handling business. People don't think long term. Test failed. There's no way you'd do all that planning a vacation just to test someone. And now my manager was too scared to even speak to me. Skull emoji. Crazy life in retail. For the first time in my life, I met a Karen for my country. Me, your total is 2040. Her, can't you give me a discount since we from the same place? Ma'am, I can't. You probably struggled your way to this job, so you can't afford a decent education. Your dad is probably still a taxi driver. Me, speaking in my language this time and pissed as hell but still kept my cool since it's the last few days of Ramadan. I can afford your entire wardrobe if I wanted to. I can afford the fake perfume you're trying to pass off, and the fake gold you're wearing that you keep flashing to show it's real is turning green, and I can definitely afford education, which you seem on lacking. She stared at me dumbfounded. My manager was scared to even speak to me, skull emoji. You see, I am immune to Karens, for I am more powerful than the manager. I am the person the manager fears. And now we have Mace and feminist anthems. A couple of hours ago, 2 men came through the front door of my parents' place and then attempted to break down my door. I responded by blasting feminist anthems and sliding canisters in the space between the door and the floor. I heard one of them say, "I want to leave," after I emptied 2 canisters of Mace in their faces. Stalkers are everywhere. No community is safe from them. Nobody. This is all to say, I already have PTSD, and I know I will have post-traumatic stress from this incident. I was dry heaving in the shower. Please be patient with me. And Bitter Never Sweet says, how do you slide a canister of Mace under a door? The gap shouldn't be that big, and if it is, you either need to replace the door or you're in an American public bathroom. Seriously, why are the gaps in stall doors so big? And now for this next one, even if it's somehow true, that's just screwed up. Thinking about that time my ex wanted to go to couples therapy, so I paid my friend to pose as a therapist and she gaslit him the whole time? Holy shit. I don't get people who brag about doing messed up things. Let's just move on to this next one that says he even gave him his phone. Sparing the details that may or may not get me into trouble, I went to the guy's house and had a conversation with him about how the city we live in is an awful and dangerous place, and a man like him would be much better suited living elsewhere. He convinced me that we'd never hear from him again. He blocked my wife's number and all her social media accounts, even gave me his phone as a gesture of goodwill. I didn't have one at the time, so it was a thoughtful gift. He actually still pays the bill on it. It's the least he can do for living rent-free in my head to this day. He moved 2 cities over, and true to his word, for these past couple of years, he and my wife haven't been in contact. After he and I reached an understanding, I went home. I had a discussion with my wife about her future and my expectations from here on out. We decided to keep her family intact and move forward together. As far as anyone knows, nothing ever happened. As far as my wife knows, I've forgotten all about it. As far as I can tell, she hasn't been unfaithful since. This next one's some realistic stuff, I'd say. A BTS fan tried to break my fingers after I told him BTS stands for Bangladeshi Toilet Services. Rant. So, I was chilling with my friends beside the road when a not-so-close friend of mine came. He was a BTS fan and wore a badge saying BTS. I asked him, "Why are you wearing a badge of Bangladeshi Toilet Services?" Immediately, he held my 4 fingers of right arm, pushed me into the wall, and turned the fingers backwards with all his force. I kicked him after 10 or so seconds, and then he released my fingers. Luckily, it was nothing serious, but my hand was numb for 5-ish minutes and it friggin' hurts. Watch out, those BTS fans go straight for the fingers. No finger shall be spared. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, then why not like, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell? And for this next one, yeah right, sounds like this loony was off his meds again. I have slept with over 580 women. Yes, let's read about this playboy's escapades with the ladies. And I don't even know where to begin. From 11 years old to 17, which I am currently, I tested for HIV, etc., and I came out negative on all, which was a big-ass relief. But now no one will date me. They call me playboy, you get the point. I've even slept with my teacher and my boss for a raise. I know it sounds wrong, but I was desperate for better grades and more pay. No, I have to live with the fact that there's nothing I could do to change that. Even my friends stay away from me so they don't get a STD. It's utter BS. What can I do to change? That I need help. I tried therapist. It doesn't help. Sorry for bad grammar. I rushed this off and had a mental breakdown. Yeah, sure, 580 women. And I love how it has no comments, because there are just no words to describe this kind of delusion. This next one was reposted in my local news group by an admin, 420. I apologize for us closing again. My 2 new cashiers quit because I said their boyfriends couldn't stand here for their entire shift. Don't hire Gen Zs. They don't know what work actually means. Now hiring. Baby boomers only. Thanks. All I can say is good luck with that. And now a 4-year-old totally ordered all this and tipped. What happens when your 4-year-old grandson gets a hold of your wife's phone while she's sleeping? Not to mention the $32 tip. Look at all that Starbucks. Lattes as far as the eye can see. Meanwhile, Toot70 comments, sounds like someone is just trying to get some free Starbucks. Yeah, silly kids. Can I get a month's worth of free Starbucks now? And now a post I saw on LinkedIn. Women, listen up. Learn from my 6-year-old daughter on negotiation. Oh, I'm taking notes right now. The other night, we laid out chores and weekly allowance. When I asked what she thought she would be paid for these chores, here were her questions and concerns. 1. What does AJ, her older brother, get? She wanted more, if not the same. 2. How I came up with my original proposal of payment. 3. How much time those chores saved me and the value of her help. 4. How she could earn more on top of the weekly allowance. And 5. If she does a good job, could we increase the pay and what that looks like? Soon she'll be asking for pay stubs and balance sheets. After significantly negotiating her down from $90 a week, we got to a more realistic payment amount. I was stuck at a number, but so was she. When I wouldn't budge, she shrugged her shoulders and said, "I just won't do it for less," and stared at me until I caved. Hashtag women entrepreneurs, hashtag women in business, hashtag salary negotiation, hashtag salary transparency, hashtag earning opportunity. We got ourselves here the world's youngest girl boss. But Exporter84 says more likely what happened was she threw a tantrum and refused to do any of it. So Supermom here gave in and changed her deal to appease her kid, and then proceeded to rewrite history and act like her kid negotiated. Sure, a hospital pressured a grieving mother to perform surgery on a deceased infant that they wouldn't get paid for. In late 2013, I gave birth to my second beautiful son, who sadly passed away in labor. Our hearts and souls were crushed. We were not gonna circumcise him, period. And we were very excited throughout my pregnancy to know the information we did as we circumcised our first boy, and both his father and I had massive amounts of regret. It was devastating to lose our second son. In the midst of our grief, the hospital still asked us multiple times if we wanted to have our beautiful full-term stillborn son circumcised before the funeral home came. What? I'm sure you can image the hurt and disrespect we felt, sad face. They knew we would not be taking our precious baby home, and they were still worried about frickin' circumcising him. Excuse my bad language here. This is such a weird thing to lie about, not gonna lie. And now Facebook, much like a car, needs its cam belt changed roughly every 80,000 posts. Here's a fun fact about me that makes me sound absolutely ancient. I was one of the first people on Facebook in the UK cause my friend at Cambridge Uni in 2005 got a code and signed me up. I'm from Cambridge. I remember seeing no one else signed up for months, so thought it was shit. Anyway, cause my Facebook account is 17 years old, it is extremely glitchy lol, which is really fun when everything you need a link to Instagram for work is via Facebook. Wait, how can your Facebook account get glitchy? I mean, your app can if it's out of date, but the account itself? And now some more Twitter. 3rd grade, studying for a grammar test. I asked my dad what obligation meant, and he said, "You are," so I wrote the definition of it as someone you love. My teacher asked me about the answer and I told her my dad said I was an obligation. She hugged me and gave me an A+. All you need to get good grades is a little bit of love. And now we got a high school guy who's still trying to make it in the rap game, claims Snoop Dogg called him directly to maybe work with him. I might go in to work with Snoop Dogg, just got the phone call today from Snoop personally. Incredible. And now no, the feminists are taking over, whatever shall we do? I once held a door open for m'lady who then berated me and loudly proclaimed that she was more than capable of opening it herself. Later, I saw the same woman struggle to open said door while laden with shopping bags. I went ahead of her, opened the door, and promptly shut it in her face as she tried to walk through thinking I was holding it open for her. Petty, I know, but it felt right at the time. And then, I threw my fedora at her. It didn't work, the door was in the way. This next one sounds about right. Well, people, I've had the most beautiful experience in Seatown earlier today. Yep, you read it right. I was shopping earlier and this handsome, well-dressed guy said Happy Easter to me. I replied, same to you and yours, went about my business, and then went and stood in line to pay for my items. Who was at the cashier but my well-dressed guy? Well, something beautiful happened. This guy belted out a beautiful operatic song to the lady cashier. OMG! It was absolutely lovely. Another cashier waved to me and said, next. I waved back to her and said, no, I'm okay. These few people can go ahead of me. I just couldn't leave this beautiful moment. OMG! He sang the whole song and it was my first time I didn't mind waiting in a line. 4 laughing emojis. And how is your day going so far? Lots of raising hand emojis and lots of bunnies. That is a lot of emojis. And for this next one, I strongly despise the Warrior Cats fandom. I used to read so much Warrior Cats, like 1 book a day. So every day, I would go to school crying and I would be really rude. Once in English, I had to write a book report on my favorite book. I took every single Warrior book ever made, lined them up from beginning to end. It ended up being a 20-page essay. I broke down crying reading it about 3 times. The whole entire time, I was sniffling and weeping. They had to bring me to the nurse and I kept screaming, Yellowfang, no! And then 4 years later, the OP came out and said, hi, I wrote this when I was 9, none of this is true, I don't know why I wrote it, LMAO. Well, I guess that confirms it then. Moving on. For this next one, sorry, white people aren't allowed to deliver to me because Black Lives Matter. Out delivering Uber Eats and DoorDash and Grubhub. Probably best to avoid downtown. The police are gonna cuff everything that moves because of the protests. That being said, I was delivering last night. Had a little kid call me and ask if I was white. He wanted a person of color to deliver because Black Lives Matter. My response was suit yourself, and I unassigned the Popeyes delivery and went home. I will say that it's a situation where said little kid spends too much time screen stroking and not enough time playing outside. Sounds like you're the one who doesn't spend enough time outside, instead making up stories like these. And now the whole restaurant asked for her autograph. Tonight at my birthday dinner, I took off my shawl and the lady at the next table said, "Well, those are distracting," and moved tables. Still got it. Prejudice against big naturals. Still got the big booba, I see. Okay, that was kinda cringe, not gonna lie. For this next one, and then the whole plane clapped. The MF screaming "we're gonna die" would have pissed me off so much. Who's that helping, LMAO? I've been on a flight, not unlike this one, where someone kept yelling, "We're going down, we're going down!" and everyone was crying, and I finally turned around and told them to shut the hell up, and when the plane landed, everyone thanked me and one offered to pay for my cab home. Not only did the whole plane clapped, they got a standing ovation as soon as they got to the airport, the airline gave them free flights for life, and the mayor even gave them the keys to the city. Amazing! This next one certainly celebrates Easter a little differently. Wearing a zombie costume to church. I thought it would be funny to wear a zombie costume to an Easter church service. I came to some 11 a.m. church, which is pretty early for me, wearing a zombie costume I had bought the day previously. As soon as I got out of my car, people started staring at me and their reactions were priceless. The police officer in front of the building looked confused and seemed very unsure on what to do, so he just stood by. When I entered the church itself, some kids saw me and started crying while others looked shocked. I guess it's how people reacted if they had seen their fictional Jesus. The pastor saw me and said, "Please leave. What you're wearing isn't very reverent." I then said, "I just dressed up as Jesus." Then the pastor said, "Sir, please leave so we may continue our service." In response, I said, "Whatever, I'll just let you read your fairy tales. Hail Satan." I just said that to trigger them. Needless to say, people were shocked and I left the way I came. I might do this again next year at some other church in my town because I had so much fun this year being an a-hole. Must be one of those Reddit atheists who think they're smarter than everyone else. Meanwhile, normal atheists and religious people just cringe. And for this next one, of course they did. When I filmed this, a big family came down the stairs and was like, "OMG, they're filming a TikTok. I follow you. I like your videos. They were so nice. Oh my god, I'm so famous, I can't believe it." And now let's go back to Reddit for a moment. For this next one titled The Bunny Man. I was 12 years old and my parents were going to a party. After they left, I was just playing Minecraft in my Xbox 360. 7 hours later, I went to the bathroom and when I come back to my room, I saw a man in the window wearing a bunny costume and was holding a chainsaw. The hell, were you in a horror movie? When I saw that, I immediately closed the curtains and called 911. Then I heard a loud chainsaw sound in front of my door and then I heard the man said, "I know there's somebody in there," in a creepy voice. When the cops arrived, the man starts running and one of the cops shot the man 4 times, but the man didn't die. Instead, the man starts laughing like a maniac. After that, the man's limp body was handcuffed and taken away in an ambulance. Turns out one of the cops told me that the man was a mental patient, not a mental patient, but a mental patient from a mental hospital. After that, I don't want to be home alone again. So it's confirmed this person does live in a horror movie. And now, if one wasn't enough, we have another cringe Reddit atheist. Imagine being this bored to make stuff like this up, LMAO. When someone asks, "Have you accepted Jesus in your heart?" I always respond, "I'm not stupid enough to be a Christian." Watch out, we got an intellectual over here. The other day, I was at a gathering with a few friends and someone's wife asked me about my spiritual life. I told her I don't have a spiritual life because I prefer thinking for myself, which means not accepting what other people tell me uncritically and on faith, and of course, bragging about my intelligence on Reddit. "Well, everyone has to believe in something," she said. "Well, I don't," I told her. "I'm different." Can we get an r/not like other atheists subreddit going? A brief silence followed while she pondered what to say next. "Why haven't you accepted Jesus in your heart?" she blurted out. "I'm not stupid enough to be a Christian." She looked at me flabbergasted. For a moment, she was at a loss for words. "You heard me. I'm not stupid enough to be a Christian." "I'll pray for you," she said. "I'll think for you," I responded, and that was that. Another Christian put back in its place, owned by facts and logic. And Fishing Fool 64 said, "Guy has had that conversation in his head 100 times to perfect it too. Just had to make sure that Christian is being owned in the exact way I want them to." For this next one, money? Nah, I'm good. I went to a bakery in Boston about 4 years ago. I went to give a tip after I got my amazing red velvet cupcake, and the cashier looked me up and down and she said, honey, you don't have to tip. Just looking at you is tip enough." Now I'm a pretty confident, quick-witted guy and I had nothing. Truly the most handsome man in the world. And now we have even more made-up stories from the land of LinkedIn. When I was 11, I installed a game on my dad's PC and crashed it. My stomach dropped, my face felt hot, I was scared to tell him. Eventually, I did. He was very calm, took a deep breath, looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Fix it." I had no idea what to do. I tried reinstalling Windows. Then I reinstalled all his tax and accounting software. It didn't work. I called Dell support, put on a really deep voice pretending to be my dad. I was on the phone for 10 hours across 6 different technical support people. In the end, I fixed Dad's PC, which gave me a great feeling of accomplishment. I'd stared danger in the eye and came out whole on the other side. In the process, I learned how much I loved computers, still do, and I learned never to fear screwing up, because I know there's something in it for me. It's just another chance to learn. Sounds like you learned a whole lot of creative writing on that one. This next one absolutely did not happen. You know you still got it when a bunch of high school kids stop your car and ask you for your number. First of all, they're literally teenagers. Yikes. And second of all, no, you don't got it. For this next one, I'm sure he did. Screw self-checkouts. Had to brave Walmart for the first time in quite a while to buy some ink for my printer today. I mean, it is a crazy place, so braving it might not be an exaggeration here. I know, realize they have nothing but self-checkouts. Walk up next to one where a guy is taking items out of his cart and putting them in bags without scanning. Look at his screen and it says start scanning items. Watch him finish up his full cart and walk right out. I'll be honest, for a short second, I thought of grabbing someone. I looked around at every register being a self-checkout and thought how many lost jobs these have caused, and we are now doing their work while paying them for the pleasure of shopping there. Watched him walk out and get to his car. I applaud you, random Giga Chad. Screw Walmart and screw self-checkouts. And then, after that one action, Walmart got owned and declared bankruptcy. And now another tweet. Do people really buy this sort of story? The man behind me in the grocery store just put all my groceries on the belt, paid for them, and packed them up. Apparently he says it's because he likes my dress, lol. And then later the owner of the grocery store came out and gave me the whole store for free. And for this last one, watch out, we've got a badass over here. Hard man takes law into his own hands, posted on r/off my chest. I beat my mom's boyfriend to a bloody pulp. So quick summary, I'm 22-year-old male and my mom and dad separated when I was 5. My dad and I have a good relationship and same with my mom, I love them both. So anyway, my mom had this new boyfriend they started dating a year ago, and because I don't live with my mom, I don't see him much. So fast forward to 5 days ago, I went to dinner with my mom because it's the first time I've seen her in 2 weeks. And she told me Mike, her boyfriend, hit her and has been treating her like crap. She already went to the police about a restraining order, but they didn't give it. She didn't tell me to do anything about it because she knows how I am, but I got up instantly and drove me and my mom to her house. I walked in the house and saw Mike on the couch. To skip detail, I beat him very badly and told him to F off and leave this house forever, and he did. My mom is thankful I helped her, but is scared I'll get in trouble. But I'm just happy I beat my mom's abusive ex to a bloody pup. He hasn't contacted her since, and he better not. Thanks for listening. Watch out, we got a badass over here. Not only that, a badass who forgot that punctuation exists. Holy shit, this whole paragraph was one run-on sentence. Anyway, I'd like to thank all of my patrons, especially Benjamin, Spoonie the Rogue, Nightcrawler, Kettle, and Cormandy Bacon Canada, jury of jubilantly juggling Jerrys. You can join in the link below, and thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like. If you have something interesting to say, don't forget to comment. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe and hit the little notification bell. See you guys next time.